Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com and the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. Welcome to your energy forecast for October 2021. I feel like I'm hurrying a bit because we have a lot to cover. There's a lot in this month and it's turning upward. Tiffany promised us, Tiffany Harlick is here from Wise Skies Collective. Thank you, Tiffany, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm going to quickly give you her bio because it's awesome. And then we're going to move on and just share what's going on in this month. Tiffany did promise last month that it would be a little better here in October. You did. And she also shared with us the worst and best day of the month. And you guys, I don't have time to share the story, but I was on a trip and man, was it ever true. So true. The 5th was the worst. It was like, ah. And the 6th, I got my home. So just for you guys can know, I'm moving to Florida. I got my home in Florida. Okay, so Tiffany has created wiseskiescollective.com. Links will be below for anything you want to connect with her in. She is the publisher, the owner of Spellbound Publishing, and has written lots of books, so lots of spiritual content there. She's an astrologer, an intuitive. I recently saw that she is also a registered yoga teacher, as am I, so we have that. She's a Texan to the bone, as she says, so she's an embodied gal with a lot of psychic background, goes to her Russian lineage. So she's got both earth and sky, and she's a double Scorpio, sun and moon, Sagittarius rising for the fun, just for the fun energy that she brings. So please check Tiffany out at wiseskiescollective.com. And Tiffany, over to you for the energy forecast.
Okay, thank you so much. It's always funny to hear your bio. Thank you so much for the warm intro. And hi, everybody. This month for October, what we're going to focus on astrologically is restoring what's correct for you, right? Restoring what's correct for you is different than maybe what you thought. Sometimes we can get up in the projection of our lives, what other people think that we're supposed to be and do. But really, the whole month of October, the astrology, the numerology, the cards all line up for you to have a more restorative month. And of course, the energy to restore is coming this way. So restoring, coming into an alignment inward. So sometimes we talk about coming into an alignment by going forward. This isn't that. This is coming back to yourself over and over. This is like a personal homecoming. A lot of us have homecoming in October.
That's the one I'm going to use. Okay, so October is, I got chills in my legs when you said that. October is, because that's homecoming month in the U.S. with all the football and all that. October is your personal homecoming. Okay, great. Yeah, love it. I got chills. I still have them. Oh, goosebumps.
And one of my mentors used to say, if you're uncomfortable and they're unhappy them out there, then you're growing, right? And so the homecoming doesn't mean that everything's going to feel like pumpkin latte. You know what I mean? It's going to feel a little bit more up and downy, right?
Okay, so we welcome the tension, and I think we were talking about some tensions that were in the first part of the month, right? You said.
Yes. Okay, so the big picture, I'm going to give you the big picture, has to do with the Saturn Uranus squares. And these are happening 3 times in 2021, February, June, and December 24th. And so those are the big signature moments, but they get really close again the first 2 weeks of October. So something's got to give. There's this tension in the sky. It's the tension between the spiritual warrior who wants to go, do, conquer.
The young one, yeah.
Like hard lines. And then there's this other more soft spiritual surrender side. And it's who's right. There's no fight if everyone's right. So my I guess practical advice for you is to keep telling people that they're right. You might be right.
You're right. And I also feel this too. I love that. There's no fight if everyone's right. and everyone is, in the sense that God is everything. So there's nothing that's it can be wrong, really,
right,
in certain ways. So depending on the perspective. Excellent. Love it. You're coming up with t-shirts today that I'm like, yes.
And if you're coming home to you, right, there's also this recalibration where other people's opinions don't matter as much. They don't have as much weight. They're not as sticky as they used to be, right? So, okay, so that's the big picture. Within that, we have 3 little things we're going to focus on, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into them, right? So the first thing is that we've got 4 planets going direct. That's a big deal. When the outer planets go direct or in retrograde, it slows things down. There's a little bit more lethargy. There's a sense of frustration and sense of urgency in your body, but out there it's like a no. You know what I mean? So
Got
there's
it.
just a slowing down.
And
With
they are,
the
will you just
planets.
name them? We won't go into, I know you'll go in it in the events, but what are the
Sure.
four, real quick?
Yeah, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury.
I just wanted them named so I hear when you get to events. And
Sure.
right.
Okay. So those, even though that there's a specific day when they're happening, it's just this. If you're using like a paintbrush to paint October, this is the color that it is. It's all four of those things retrograde. There's kind of a tint over it, that makes things slower and more internal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the second big theme is that we've got three planets changing signs. The sun, of course, so maybe we don't count the sun, but then Venus and Mars are both going to change signs, right? And that's a very
Okay.
sensual, a change in attraction, right?
Okay.
A change in the way we experience our love
Mm-hmm.
and energy. And then the third pillar, really, the third anchor that I like to focus on has to do with the new moon and the full moon, because they're just easy anchors,
Yes.
easy dates to circle, and really easy to attune your energy with, especially if you're working on restoring what's in your alignment. The moon can help you with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can go into the calendar if you want. Is that
Okay. Well, we could do that. You want to first, I know you like to touch on the numerology. You just want to say the numbers
Oh,
for
sure. Yeah.
the
The
number for the month.
numerology is perfect for you because the numerology is so cool in October because it's a preview for the following year. So
Okay.
October is a 6 universal month, and 2022 will be a 6
6 year.
universal year.
Got it.
And if you're trying to change your address numerology, or if you're trying to change the vibe in your home, or I always go to the 6.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, guys, October is going to be better because we have the 6 in there,
Six has a completion energy. It does. It's of the six embodied chakras. It's the highest and it covers everything. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
love
Okay. And for me, that's really where there's a lot of not self on you, right? And so we're restoring the true self, that nesting feeling, that restorative coming home, leaning in feeling is what the numerology has. We all deserve more unconditional love, not less. And
that.
that feeling of, it almost looks like a pregnant belly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that time when you're just nesting,
Okay.
when you're really having some true self-care.
I'll never look at a 6 now without seeing a pregnant belly.
No, it isn't a 5 year, so there's still this
Yeah.
opportunity.
There's that even tension, mini tension right there in a way that you're saying.
Right? Yeah. There will be plenty of opportunities to take you right off course, but so that's the self-discipline, the yoga of discipline comes in when we say, I've got to take care of myself right now.
Well, and together they make the 11, which is the harmony number. So maybe that's part of what we're feeling about this October also being more calm and harmonious in that, right? Or
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
the month and the year. So
Yeah. All right. You want me to go into the individual dates? You want to talk about the calendar, first half, second half?
Oh, you mean your calendar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, I know I meant the astrology
Oh, the
calendar.
first and that. No,
Yeah.
let's just do the dates and then we'll do, if you want to mention anything about first and second half, we'll do that when we do the tarot cards, which are first and second half, if there's anything. But we'll see also what they have to say about it. But you have some aspects for particular days. And I do want to hear, though, the worst and best days, your opinion.
Okay, you got it. All right. So I'm going to say the best day is going to be, and now I'm doing.
Do you want to wait? Let's wait till you get there. I want people to have
sure.
to wait. I feel like my hands are going like this, like, let's wait. Let there be a little drum roll.
Okay. So for the first part of the month, the first day that you're going to want to circle again is the 6th. This is the day that Pluto goes direct, but it's also the day of the new moon. So the new moon will be in 13 degrees of Libra, trying to balance everything out. Working on that, I guess, inner integrity, you know what I mean? At the same time that Pluto is changing everything. So you might find that your house rules change. You might find that you're redefining some relationships. You might find this renewed sense of forgiveness, this renewed sense of peace, this almost like this don't sweat the small stuff type of a feeling.
Yeah.
Because Pluto is so transformative. It's almost like you were worried about something that seemed really big to you and then ended up being very minuscule in the grand scheme of things. So it just, that sixth day of the month is when we have that new moon pillar, when we have that freshness, when we have that ability to align both the head and the heart with Libra there.
That feels good.
Libra new moon correspondences, right? You could be working with rose, so like rose oil, burning rose with your sage, rose essential oils, rose flower essences, right?
Even rose quartz, because Libra is a heart.
Perfect.
Libra is all about balancing and coming from the true heart, the balanced heart.
Perfect. Yeah, right. And where this new moon might challenge you, because it's on a day where Pluto is starting to go direct, and it's like that big train station rolling in, where it can challenge you. The downside of Libra is being two-faced, okay? Saying one thing and doing another.
Yeah. Trying to please everyone, so you do this and then that kind of thing, or
Yes, exactly. And it can also look like unhealthy compromises. Like, I saw the red flag and I didn't say anything, so now I'm just going to get resentful about it. And you know what I mean? Instead of saying, oops, I got a red flag here and we're going to need to course correct, so working through healthy boundaries starts with you knowing what's okay with you and what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not, right? So that's where that moon can be challenging. Yes, it's a new moon. Yes, it's a pillar for a fresh start. But where does it hit your chart? What did I say? 13 degrees of Libra. So where's 13 degrees of Libra in your chart? And that'll help you fine tune even more. What house is it in?
That feels good. Both of those things I can really like. There's something I can look at, and if I'm doing it at all, I can make a new attention around them, and just start anew. So thank you. Those feel really good and specific.
Sure. Right the day after that, Venus is going to move into Sagittarius. And I just love that movement because I think I have Sag rising is why I like it so much. But Venus,
Sag is awesome. Let's just say it. Sag is just awesome.
And it helps you let your heart roam wherever it wants to go. It's like a roaming feeling. Like, I love everything, as my friend sent me this the calendar of the dog, and the dog's calendar, every day is the best day of its life. You know what I mean?
Just wagging the tail.
And that's kind of the Venus and Sagittarius vibe. It's like every day is an adventure. So in some ways, starting on the 7th, this can be a great time to explore foreign languages, explore overseas travel in your mind, like study, like check out the History Channel or the Travel Channel, or what have you always been interested to cook from your favorite Thai place, and can you make that? That's Venus and Sagittarius. So that's going to be on the 7th. On the 10th, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and Venus is also very relational, right? So this is a time, Sagittarius is a fire sign. So it might be more passion because it's a funny fire sign. It's not a hard fire sign. It's the really fun. So it feels like it could bring some really fun relationship energy as well, too.
Yeah, I like that interpretation. You're right. Sag is a lot more jovial.
And also it's money, right? Venus is related to our money and material things. So also the Jupiter affected Sagittarius we could have some positive money kind of shift or even attitude around it at that time too. Does that land?
It matches, and also Jupiter's taught me that it's a magnifier, right? So it's not just that we could have a lot of money coming in and it's abundance. It could be that there's a lot of money going out. You know what I mean?
so that's true. But if it is, I'm okay with that. Like, I often in my bills will write thanks if they're really meaningful things, like it's the home that I love or whatever. I did that for years with my house in Sedona, and then all of a sudden when I sold my house in Sedona, and she gave so much back to me. You know what I'm saying? And I wrote thanks on every bill. On every mortgage payment. So I agree. I totally agree. But even things going out can be a blessing, because that's energy going out tends to come back. So
that's right. Yeah.
Blessings
absolutely.
is what I get when I think of Jupiter and think of Sag, and joy, and just like, let's make the most of it is kind of the energy I get.
Right. It's kind of like that YOLO bucket list time to plan your life's greatest adventure type of a thing, just like that go for it type of energy. Okay, so because that is, what did I tell you? The 7th?
This
Yeah.
is
So
6th? Did you say 6th for
the
the new
6th
moon?
was the new moon, and then the 7th is when Venus enters Sag. And
Okay, got
so
it.
I want you to circle the 8th as
8th.
your one of your potentially best days of the month. Um,
Potentially best day. Okay.
um,
Are you hedging bets here? Are you gonna do more than one day, or are you just gonna do the 8th?
oh, I have a whole list of all of the days, but I know we don't have time to
No,
go
I
into
mean more
that.
than one best day. Are you just gonna do one best day the 8th, or are you gonna do a
I'm going to do
couple?
one best day, the 8th.
Okay.
I'm going to put them all in the 8th for
Okay.
now.
All right.
The 8th, the sun is going to come right over the top of Mars. And Mars at that point will still be in Libra. And so I just feel like there's this energy, there's this like moment where you have full health, full vitality. Your yeses are clear, is really what I like about it.
Ooh, there's another
You know what I
t-shirt.
mean?
You're having a t-shirt day. Okay, you guys, the 8th, your yeses are clear. So you have more permission to say yes because they will be clear when they come
Mm-hmm.
through. Love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Because you're
Love it.
going to feel it in your body. You're going to have body wisdom. It's not going to be, if your mind starts thinking about the pros and cons of things, you're out of your body, right? You're already out.
Yes,
You're already
yes,
not there,
yes.
right?
Yes,
So
and you're already doubting too. When you really know it, it's a yes and it moves all the way through your body.
yes, exactly. And so that October 8th, I feel like you're going to be following all the things, all the strategies are coming in. You're coming home to yourself. Your yes means yes. You're in integrity with yourself. And if that makes somebody else uncomfortable, you're going to be as kind as possible, but you're still going to stand up for yourself because that inner child's watching. That little child is watching, and he is trying to trust you.
Another t-shirt. That inner child is watching. I'm seriously, your t-shirt mania today, you guys. Your inner child is always watching. So how are you standing up for that younger, vulnerable, innocent self? Are
Mm-hmm.
you being there for your younger, innocent self?
So my yes day is like nuanced this time.
Okay, I love it. I love it. It feels so good. So we're going to leave it at that because I can totally feel it. It's a beautiful yes kind of day, your positive day. And I love it.
Yeah.
Soft and sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so on the 10th, Saturn will go direct into Aquarius. And so Saturn being the lord of karma, Aquarius being ruler of groups, going direct, meaning now we can pause and see, what am I learning from this group? What can I reflect around my freedom? What makes me feel more free, and what is holding me back from
Yeah.
a sense of freedom, right? And
Okay.
so it's not pinpointed to the 10th, right? But that's when the shift starts happening. That's why I'm saying our first pillar of what's going direct, you're going to feel all of this all month. It's just a big, huge paintbrush of restoration and recalibration, and it comes through different little points, like a constellation, right? And so this constellation point is that Saturn's going to go forward again, and that there's a karma boomerang happening. So
Okay.
if what's in front of you, if you don't like, right, the best thing to do is to take responsibility for it and say, I've created this, I've co-created this, I've participated. Here's where I'm responsible, and here's what I'd like to pivot, or here's what I've learned, right?
Love it. Love the way you just worded all of that. It's too long for a t-shirt, but I love it.
Oh, yes. Okay. So the next, I guess, most astrologically significant event is going to be on the 18th. And so Jupiter, there's two things. Jupiter and Mercury both will go direct on the 18th. And so you could probably circle that day as another, like, okay, things are coming into focus here for me. I'm starting to get the bigger picture. So Jupiter, the bigger picture, and Mercury, like the detail oriented thing. Everything's kind of coming back into alignment. You're easing into new ideas where you couldn't see something before. It's like, oh, it's those aha moments start coming back. Jupiter also is really good at doing an expose, right? Exposing big things, magnifying things. And so what is it that you want to magnify in your life, right? When Jupiter and Mercury both go direct on the 18th in Aquarius and Libra, that's a moment to really step forward, right? We've been talking about, oh, it's restore, 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 but that moment, it's like, okay, I've got the mic now, and I'm gonna direct this play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. What I saw before you even said the mic, I saw like a curtain being ripped. Like when someone's behind a curtain, and they're kind of like, there you are, So we're working on just figuring out or coming back. I won't say figuring out, that's mental. You've been giving very embodied description. So I want to stay with yours. They're really good. So we're in a very embodied way. We've been coming back to ourselves, and then at this point now we can give it our voice, our true voice.
Yes,
Okay.
that's a good way to put it. Exactly. So, so things are making more sense, things are, and we're able to stand for what's really true, I guess.
Love it.
There, you can see it in the news, right? I don't know what's on your news feed, but for me, there's a lot about the missing couple, the people that are missing. It's like, oh, then they're found. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
There's a missing piece of information, and it starts to make sense around October 18th, right?
Beautiful.
Okay. So what do we got? The next one is the 20th, the full moon. So the full moon will be in 27 degrees of Aries. For me, this is one of my favorite full moons. I think it's very fiery and hot. Wherever 27 degrees of Aries is in your chart, Aries starts things, and the full moon ends things. And so
yeah, exactly. That's what I was feeling. I was even feeling how it's such primal masculine energy, the warrior of the Aries, and it's primal feminine oceanic energy of the moon, so it's like,
yes. Right. And so Aries representing the ego, representing the self, representing the pioneer, representing anything new we got cooking.
Exactly. That's so good. That's so perfect for Aries. Yeah, when you want it to be nice. Otherwise, it's like sword. But when you're being nice, this is Aries.
Right. I mean, you have an Aries friend that's real. That just
I'm Aries moon.
Right?
So yeah, I'm Aries moon.
There's positive and frustrations on all sides of it. So with Aries, when the full moon's there, what can you end that's kind of the bad or the negative or the unwanted side of the ego self, right? So where can we put away self-righteousness? Where can we put away like delusionment? You know what I mean? All the ways that we've used ourself against ourself. Have you know the Ho'oponopono prayer, right? But there's a little tweak you can make to it. It's like, forgive me, Vicki, I've used your words against myself, right? Forgive me, landlord, I've used your actions against myself. And it's like this incredible amount of responsibility for self, Aries, where full moon, it's down to you, right? And so any fears, any ego-based resistance, any self-reliance that's unhealthy, this is the time when you can take responsibility and be like, no, I'm no more of that, right? This is a bold action, Aries, that restores your true self as opposed to your ego-based not self, right?
Real quickly, can I share? A friend shared something with me and it applied to me, and it feels like it fits here. The idea that using this person has some of that fire too, Aries is fiery, and using that fire to discipline against the fire. So the fire isn't raging. So actually using the fire in a softer, the more moon-like way to mature, make it more mature, and make it, so it's like, so normally if I'm like doing this, gotta go, now I use this fire to go, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna take it at a certain mature pace. do you see it? And it's like, interesting, take the same discipline that would rush to slow down. Same fire. And it feels like this moon feels like an opportunity for that, maybe, to be more nurturing, more loving, but use the discipline of that fire, of that Aries, in a more mature way to do that.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Another way, I guess, to describe it is removing blocks to new beginnings, right? So if there's anything that you've been stalling on, this is a time when you can say, all right, I'm ready.
And one way to remove it is just do it. You just said, all right, I'm ready. Just do it and just see. And then you'll course correct once you get started.
And then you'll tap into the big picture theme of working with trial and error to recalibrate, right? There's
beautiful.
No mistakes, right?
Yep, no mistakes.
Okay, so the last two transits, or let's see, at the end of the month here, is that the sun will enter Scorpio on the 23rd. And then Mars will enter Scorpio on the 30th.
And so, when's your birthday? Because I know you're Scorpio sun. Is it next month or?
Mine's November 7th.
Okay, we'll deal with that next month. Okay, but I know you're really center Scorpio, just about.
Yeah, right. Yes, I have 4 planets in Scorpio. I have a lot of Scorpio energy.
Well, and even the sun is right there in the middle of kind of. You're not cuspy. Let's put it that way.
No. But both, so as both the sun and Mars move towards Scorpio towards the end of the month, Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto and Mars, right? So Mars has brings this fire, and Pluto is almost like that transformative experience that you're talking about, the phoenix through the flames, the using fire to fine tune, meld, bend. You know what I mean? Like it's very juicy primal energy. It's not till the very very end,
Yeah.
but it's very tasty.
Mm.
And it feels like that real shift into fall for me when the sun finally moves into Scorpio. I'm like, oh, like I could just feel like it's really here. It's more internal because where I live, it's very hot most of the year.
Yeah.
And so I just like this whole shift this time of year personally. It's like, okay, sun's in Scorpio, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Um,
it's harvest and calming down and cooling down. And,
yeah, and
yeah.
cooling down. And now Mars and Scorpio at the very last day, this is my way or the highway. This is get out of the way. This is focused intensity. You know what I mean? And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out throughout the month of November. And like I said, it's not till the very last day. But if you get that huge sense of like, woo, the energy is rising, it's because we are now shifting into Scorpio season, right? So that's we talked about the new moon and the full moon.
Well,
I am.
but what I want to hear about is the challenging or worst day. Did you give
Oh,
that?
sorry. I yes. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Because you helped me a lot. Seriously, I'm driving, I'm dealing with all this stuff, and just knowing that it's something larger was going
Mhm.
on. I can't explain it. It just helped. It's like you were with me through it or something, and then it was kind of like I had more of a sense of humor around it, or I was able to let it go more, knowing that everyone was probably feeling. And when I talked to friends, they were too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it helped to know. It helped to know that those energies, because you were really last month. You were like, you don't always bring it up, worst best, but you were like, this is going to be wonky. This is going to be a hard day, and it was.
Well, okay. So the one I want to really point out is October 16th, so mid-month.
Okay.
And this one is where like it's Mars in conjunct Neptune, and that is like poison. You know what I mean? It's like food poisoning. It's like toxic thoughts. It's like overheating. It's like hanging out in the wrong crowds. It's like blending your energy with something that, oops, you don't want to, and now you're stuck with it.
Mm.
It's that really the heat of Mars and the disillusionment of Neptune to
Yeah, like the one that doesn't know better, or it's
yes.
confused, and so it's like playing with fire, you could get burned.
Right, very good way to phrase that transit.
The fire is
Um,
the Mars, the Neptune is you could get burned because you're playing. You're not really knowing what you're
what you're
being.
playing with. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
you're
like
not
you
being adult. You're kind of being out of it. Neptune can be sort of unaware, and yeah.
right. I was trying to see was did it come one more time, but no. So that mid-month flex. Now the other reason I'm like this is hard to pinpoint is because Mars transits come in early.
Hmm.
You're gonna feel it maybe a week in advance, maybe 2 days in advance. But it's just like being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? It's like uh,
No
it's
one's ever said that. You say so many brilliant things that I just want to grab and go, I've never heard that before. Like you said, Mars transits come in early, and my whole body went, yes. Like, but I never heard that before. It makes total
yeah.
sense because Mars is always in a hurry. And I've noticed when women are in a hurry, they give birth earlier, like our energies translate. And so it
Hmm.
would make sense that Mars energy would come in. It's such a powerful forward energy, and it
Hmm.
doesn't have any breaks. So it would come in early. It'd be there like, what do you say? It'd be there yesterday,
Right, right,
and
right.
tomorrow and yesterday. Yeah.
Right. And Neptune doesn't know when to stop. You know what I mean? So that's why it's hard to pinpoint it. But the apex
Yeah.
of it is mid-month on the 16th.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So it might be a little bit, it's not so much a day, but just watch that tiny little pocket right there.
yeah.
And does this, and compared to last month, since I felt it so much last month, I feel like it's a little bit lighter than that, maybe, because last month you were like, watch this day on the fifth.
Yeah, I do feel like this is a bit of little like more blendy.
Okay.
So I would say, if I could give you a really good piece of advice for this, I would just say watch your red flags and believe the first one. You know, don't trip your way into the wrong bar at midnight. You know what I mean? Like like just realize, right? Like this is
Okay, guys, she means that as an analogy, I'm sure, but we're
yes,
using analogies all the time. Don't trip your way into the wrong bar at midnight.
you know,
In the season of moving into Scorpio and Halloween, don't do that. You never know.
right.
It could be a horror film.
Right? And maybe that's the best case. Maybe it's like, oops, we're all actors. Haha.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. That was a great overview of the month. I got a really
Thank
good
you.
sense. I feel like I wrote it with you, and I feel like your emotions today are giving me just as much as your words.
Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Well, you want to do the cards? You
Yes,
want
let's do the cards. One for
okay.
the first half, one for the second half, just to kind of complement what you've already shared, because obviously we already have a sense of what's. But what I love about the cards is sometimes my mental mind, once we look at things, my mental mind will get stuck in an idea, and the cards might say something opposite or a completely different angle
Yeah.
that then shifts my perspective on that first part just a bit, you know.
Yes. All right. So the
Uh,
first part, let's see. Let's just see what the cards have to say. So for the month of October, just taking a deep breath in as you're receiving any kind of reading helps us be more receptive, listen with the ear of the heart. And I'm just asking for clarity around the first half of the month. And what is it that we all need to know or hear for the first half of October 2021?
mm,
Okay, so in the field of infinite love and wisdom, where all things are possible, the first thing we get is a page of coins. All right, so the coins having to do with our sense of security, our sense of stability. It's when insecurities can pop up. It's when sometimes finances can be volatile, like we were talking about that big money in, big money out, flowing in and out. The pages also represent conversations, conversations around money,
mhm.
redoing your budget, adjusting your spending, having a new stream of income,
It,
adding a
it's
stream of income.
just to be clear, is okay in a traditional deck is coins like pentacles.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
coins are like pentacles, and your page is really very much like Mercury, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you put the little, like it's the messenger or the communicator, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so interesting.
So new
Hmm.
messages around money, new ways to play with money, having multiple streams of income, tying up a business, you know what I mean? Paying your last taxes. There's just some details around money, which is always connected to our self-worth. So our net worth doesn't equal our self-worth, but it plays into our sense of our own personal securities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you bring this up, I'm feeling how you talked about Venus, and Venus is related to money and all that. And the second half of the month, it could shift. So we're doing the prep here. You said, what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
We need to look at our own language and our language to others, our communication and our even literal communication in our life with money. Do I move
That's
it from
right.
this account to that account? What do I do? So this is the prep, I feel, for what you shared, which is Venus going into Jupiter. I mean, Jupiter,
Sag.
no,
Venus going
Sag.
into Sag.
Yeah, I'm going Jupiter. Venus can't go into Jupiter. But yeah, Sag is ruled.
Division.
Sag is ruled by Jupiter, right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there's feels like there's going to be that growth in the second half, and if there, I've learned whenever there's growth, there's always needs to be some kind of prep and owning before. So this feels really good.
And I like how you said that too, because the prep work can often just be some awareness, it can just be
Yeah,
some awareness. You don't have to do anything a whole lot differently. You can just decide.
ahas and noticing and being with, and like you said, decide I want it to shift or I'm going to shift it.
Right, right. Okay. All right. So let's
Why
look
not?
at,
Why not? Why not make it that simple?
right. I love that. Just decide. All right. Let's clear for the second half of the month and just knowing the current astrology and numerology. What is it that this audience would most benefit from hearing for the second half of October? Where do we need to shift our minds, bodies, hearts? All right, we get the Four of Coins reversed. So this is a lot more financial than I had intended. All right.
But you said Venus and Jupiter, and you said it could go either way. I mean, Venus and Sag, which is Jupiter, which can go either way, because Jupiter, you said, magnifies good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
indiscriminately, whatever we're focusing on.
Changes. And to tie this into the astrology, we were talking about the big theme being Saturn, Uranus, square, Uranus is in Taurus, right? And so our food security systems is something like I have this whole talk about the astrology of food, right? The future of food working with astrology, because that it is changing, it is different. And so this idea here with the Four of Coins reverse in the second half of the month, this would be about kind of poverty mentality, scarcity mentality, not like seeing the glass half empty type of a thing. Whereas this is overcoming that, you know. So you're making some new waves. You're trying something out. You're going through your trial and error financially, and you're having to overcome some really entrenched belief systems in order to move through that, right? And so, have I given you guys the example of how love and money connect, how they connect in our personal lives? We talked about that
I don't
before.
think so. I don't think you have, but it sounds like it's good enough to repeat if you want to repeat it here.
Okay, sure. So the idea here is that how we treat our money is much like our relationships. So, for example, I have a client who has given me plenty of permission to share this story, but she was having love problems, right? And who doesn't from time to time, right? Relationship issues.
Yeah.
And so I said, how are you being treated? And she was getting treated second best, last place, chosen last. You know, he was always busy doing something else. And if he had time for her, he would maybe see her. And I was like, okay, how do you handle your finances? And she was like, I don't, you know. And I'm like, right, they're last place, you know, they're the last thing you think about. And that's how you're being treated too. And that's how you're treating others. So there is a correlation there with the energy of money, how you treat money, and in your relationship.
Relationship with money and how you treat it, like your relationship and then your other relationships.
Yeah.
That's really good. You guys look at that and see and comment if you want and feel into it. Find your ahas. So it did turn out to be pretty financial, but it's not like you completely didn't mention, I mean, Venus going into Sag, right?
And financial relating to our securities and relating to our homecoming.
And the Taurus, you said, which one is it? Uranus that's in Taurus? Or
Taurus, yep. Being
Uranus.
greatly affected right now. So a lot of people's financial worlds are in upheaval.
They're changing. The Uranus change, yeah. So it's all there. It makes sense looking at it. That's what I'm saying. That's why you add, and I love it when you pull cards. Like you always, and I love the way you set up how you pull the cards to really ask for the right ones. So thank you for this.
So welcome.
Any last thing you want to add just in completion of all that you've shared about the month?
You know, I just think that endings are going to continue to be as important as going forward. It's like, what can we end well? You know, what can we end well? What can we restore? And that's really what I want to talk about for October. Like, how are you restoring yourself and giving other people the space to do it? You know, not needing something from somebody else, but just letting everybody kind of have a little bit more breathing room. It's very volatile in the skies this year. It's very intense. And so using October intentionally as like, this is my nesting month. And this is like, think about it like this. What I'm doing right now is setting up my 2022. Yeah. So how do you want your 2022? Do you want peace and calm?
Speaking of how you want your 2022, will you talk about your calendar special that you're offering this tribe for your 2022? And then also, I want you all to know you can still get the 2021 calendar as well for this year too, but we're looking ahead. So can you share?
Yes. Yeah. So Wise Guys, we have a digital astrology calendar, and it is like your cosmic advantage because you can easily glance at it. It goes on any device, laptop, phone, whatever, Google Calendar, Android, all of the things. And it goes into your calendar system so you can see clearly when there's an exciting transit to work with. Okay. And so 2021 is half off right now. 2022, I'm giving to you half off for the month of October.
The new one you're giving to our tribe, but you guys have to use a code CHAKRA50, all caps, CHAKRA 50. I'll put it down below as well too. You can get the whole year 2022 for half off, which is only offered with this code. Or since we're already past halfway through the year, you can go just purchase
Grab.
2021. You don't need a code for half off as well. But just specifically for you here in this tribe, it's Chakra 50. Okay, and remember, Tiffany can be reached at wiseskiescollective.com. She's always doing all kinds of things. Just go there, check it out, see what she's about. You want to be part of that, of her tribe. And I'll put any other links that we want to share below. And thank you guys. I'm on the move to Florida this week, so there won't be quite as many subtitles and stuff going on in this, but for me, this was one of my favorite forecasts because there were so many t-shirt moments. And your hands were moving in such ways that I felt like the reading was halfway in your hands as well. Like I could just feel it in my body. So thank you for sharing, Tiffany, and thank you all for joining us. And I will see you, we'll continue my course on the next video, but I'll also see you next month when we do energy forecast for November, as long as Tiff will come back and put up with me.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.